Good evening, and welcome to ISC-TV's The Week That Was. On this show, we tell the partial truth, just like Hillary Clinton. Word on the street is that Whole Foods may put tattoo parlors inside new millennial-focused stores. To compete, Walmart is going to dedicate an aisle entirely to 90s nostalgia. I can't wait to stock up on Dunkaroos, Best of Nickelodeon DVDs, and obsolete technology. Comcast outrages angers thousands of customers. I don't know why this is a surprise. They've won the Consumers' The Worst Company in America award twice. Their customer service model is to drive by your house, make sure no one sees them, and then claim that you weren't home during your appointment. Thanks, Comcast, you're the real heroes. Martin Shkreli was allegedly conned out of $15 million by a man known only as Daquan while trying to buy the exclusive rights to Kanye West's new album, The Life of Pablo. Daquan, you are a national treasure. I can't wait to hear your new mixtape, How I Tricked Two Self-Absorbed Idiots Out of $15 Million. Trump is reconsidering a third-party candidacy, so the next time Megyn Kelly bullies him, it's my party and I'll cry if I want to. The excuse would just be a reason for skipping a debate. Steve Wozniak is planning to host a nerd Woodstock that would combine events centered around pop culture and technology. So yeah, it's just like Woodstock without any of the dirt, drugs, or music that made Woodstock cool. All right, okay. Ted Cruz yelled at Marco Rubio in Spanish during the Republican debate. This almost scared old white conservatives as much as Beyonce's Super Bowl performance. Bruce Dickinson, lead vocalist of Iron Maiden, took a trip to Spain to save an endangered turtle after successfully crowdfunding a campaign contributing €8,000 for the trip. With that crazy amount of money, they even got to get the turtle to ride first class. As a Kickstarter reward, backers who contributed a large amount of money to the campaign will receive a complimentary 12-inch vinyl of their new album, Seventh Turtle of a Seventh Turtle. A replica of the Titanic is set to sail in 2018. It will cost $432 million, which is almost as much as the budget for the movie. There's no word whether this boat will have a raft for Leonardo DiCaprio, but we have been assured that the doors are big enough to fit two people. Feminist icons Gloria Steinem and Madeleine Albright have expressed deep frustration with women voters who favor Bernie Sanders over Hillary Clinton. Yet, Trump's campaign has remained quiet over the racist men who favor Ted Cruz over Mr. Trump. Can't find the logic there. When asked about the diversity of Oscar nominees, Meryl Streep commented, "We're all Africans." Really? This is like walking into an orphanage and then not adopting anybody because we're all orphans. Really? 6 IBM linguists are working to find the perfect voice in order to give computers personality. That's funny because I thought they had already settled on Scarlett Johansson. Radioactive groundwater appears in New York City. Out of the water appeared 4 teenagers that also happened to be turtles. A New York-bound airliner was forced to return to London after the pilot had been struck in the eyes by a laser. Police are looking for suspects happened upon a suspicious character near the runway, but when asked if he had anything to do with the incident, the man replied, "Laser? I barely even know her." A hairdresser will travel 930 miles to a Canadian town that doesn't have a hairdresser. He will struggle to politely cover up bald spots and comb his way through meters of hair. A bill has been introduced in Kentucky that would require men trying to buy Viagra to have written permission from their wives. The bill was introduced to Democratic State Representative Mary Lou Marzian to fire back at a new law that states that women must receive counseling by a doctor before having an abortion. Marzian jokingly said, "When I put this out here, I thought, I would strike a nerve because what is more sacred to men than their ability to have sexual intercourse?" Apparently, passing laws about women what to do with their own bodies. Ladies, Australian officials recently seized nearly $1 billion in meth that had been smuggled in bras and art supplies, obviously the best way to transport. I guess Baz Luhrmann's remake of Breaking Bad isn't coming to a theater near us after all. A team of scientists announced that they had heard and recorded the sound of 2 black holes colliding a billion light years away. But we thought the Trump Cruise shoot on Saturday night happened in South Carolina? No, maybe it's coincidence. This afternoon, a water pipe broke at Ithaca College's campus center building, causing sections of the dining hall to be closed off due to water from the sprinklers. So instead of having watery marina sauce on your pennes, You can just have actual tomato water. Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia passed away this week, leading to an epic political duel between conservatives and the president over his replacement. To discuss some of the options, we now bring in House conservative Sam Dixon. Sam, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Stephen. So tensions are really high over this.
You're right. This is truly the biggest duel since the mountain crushed the viper's face in Game of Thrones. That was like my favorite episode, I'm sorry.
That is racist. Scalia was a great man, and liberal TV references do not do him justice.
Race?
You know what I said. It's almost as disrespectful as Obama wanting to appoint his replacement without waiting a year.
Isn't that his constitutional duty?
Show me the amendment. But regardless, the next Supreme Court justice needs to be someone with a lot of experience, someone hardcore who doesn't stand up for any of that Obama crap.
Okay, Sam. Who'd you have in mind, buddy?
Judge Judy.
You mean the one from TV? Okay. I don't think experience dealing with minivans running over mailboxes will translate well to the Supreme Court, buddy.
Okay then, I have more options. I was watching this movie, which I think is based on a book that I think would really appeal to our more religious candidates, such as Ted Cruz.
Oh, really? Please tell me about it.
It's about this deformed guy and a super Catholic judge who goes around spreading love in the name of God.
What kind of love?
The love of sacred marriage. The sanctity of sacred marriage, which the liberals are trying to destroy. But I don't think they were actually married.
Wait, are you talking about the Hunchback of Notre Dame?
How did you know?
Okay, that's a Disney movie, and it's not even real. And Judge Claude Frollo, he was the villain. He tried to rape and kill people.
It's a book, so it must be true.
Okay, you know, Sam, let's just move on. Do you have any real suggestions?
Yes. Now, liberals always like to accuse us conservatives of being racist. This next candidate should quell any of that nonsense.
How?
He's chocolate.
Whoa. Did you just refer to a person of color as chocolate?
No, he's literally chocolate. Take a look.
I don't have time to rule on your motion. I'm far too busy being delicious.
So what do you think? Judge Fudge.
Okay, to be honest, I've had enough. We're done here. Sorry.
Fine. None of this matters. I have a source from the future that says Judge Scalia will return to the Supreme Court as a head in a jar.
Okay, Sam, that's Futurama, a cartoon that is no longer on air. Sam, I'm sorry, but goodbye. Today's topic is one of the strangest aspects of American politics: superdelegates. You see, there are two major lies that Americans face on a yearly basis. The first is that the Dallas Cowboys are America's team. They're not. And the second is that we have control over our elections. It's something that we've been told since we were in elementary school. Americans get to vote for their leaders, and the person with the most votes wins. However, like free candy from a van, well, some things are too good to be true. And democracy is one of these things. The best example of this is the neck-and-neck race for the Democratic presidential nomination between Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton. While in an election determined by dank memes, Bernie Sanders would be the clear favorite. But however, the actual delegate process is a bit more complicated. This is because of people known as superdelegates. The system works like this. The Democratic presidential nominee is determined by the vote of the delegates, 85% of which are bound by how people vote in the primaries. This leaves 15% to vote from whoever they choose, regardless of the popular vote. Now these are the superdelegates, and this 15% can have a strong impact. For example, take a look at what happened in the New Hampshire primary. Sanders finished with a 20% more of the popular vote than Clinton. However, Clinton left with the same amount of delegates due to 6 of the state's 8 superdelegates pledging support to her. You know, that seems a little strange. Why would a political party assign delegates to ignore the votes of their supporters? Seriously, what's the point of superdelegates?
It's absurd.
It's insane!
It's the superdelegates.
Faster than a backroom bribe, more powerful than 10,000 voters, able to leap the will of the people in a single bound.
Well, yeah, that tells us nothing, so perhaps we can get a better explanation from Democratic National Convention Chair Debbie Wasserman-Schultz.
To make sure that party leaders and elected officials don't have to be in a position where they are running against grassroots activists.
So Debbie, you don't want party leaders to be running against grassroots activists. Let me just make sure I have this right here. A grassroots movement is defined as a movement that uses the people in a given community to gain traction. And this is something that you want to avoid. You do realize that this is a country whose founding document literally begins with the words, "We the people." Maybe that rings a bell. Going against a founding principle just makes no sense. It would be like Nike telling people just not to do it, or are we slicing up something other than freshness? It only confuses people. And the DNC can't act like they haven't been using this system to their advantage. It's been clear that Clinton has been the establishment candidate all along. The DNC has been limiting debates for the entire campaign to prevent exposure for Bernie Sanders, and are just now starting to hold more in a last-minute attempt to regain support for Hillary. Meanwhile, the Republicans have had more debates than Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar have children. And more than Josh Duggar has sexual assault charges, but hey, that's none of my business. And speaking of Republicans, this is something that impacts them too. In fact, it should impact any American. If we lose our democracy, we're losing a major part of our freedom. And there really is no limit to what rights can be taken away. This delegate system is obviously not what the founding fathers had in mind. So to exemplify how democracy should work, we have found a legal document that we feel strongly explains an ideal election process. It is titled How Voting Works for the Nickelodeon 2016 Kids' Choice Awards. It reads as follows: the nominee with the most votes in its applicable category, as determined by Nickelodeon International, will be declared the winner of such category. Now, compared to the super simple delegate process, this may seem a bit complicated, but I'll try to help you understand the best I can. Basically, if Amy Poehler wins the award for favorite voice from an animated movie, it will tell us two things. First, it tells us that Amy Poehler received more votes than the other candidates and was therefore declared the winner. Secondly, it tells us that kids are stupid because Justin Long of Alvin and the Chipmunks gave one of the best animated voice performances of all time. Of all time. But seriously, if an award show so meaningless that they've let Rosie O'Donnell host it 8 times can get the process right, it makes no sense why the United States government can't. And there are only a few people who seem to know about this awful superdelegate system. One of them being this guy with the sweet ponytail.
Who superdelegates are?
Yes, I know those are the 500 bot votes that Hillary has when we go to Philadelphia in July, so we have to overcome that deficit.
Right on, dude. But the sad part is most Americans have no idea how their elections even work. Isn't that fantastic? This is something that needs to be changed. The way I see it, there are 3 solutions to this delegate issue. The first is to introduce a new type of delegate, the Bat Delegate, to fight the superdelegates in a battle titled Bat Delegate versus Superdelegate, Dawn of Democracy. The second is to force people to take a BuzzFeed "Which presidential candidate are you?" quiz and force them to vote for the result, because we all know everyone uses BuzzFeed. And the third is to keep voting. Although it may seem like candidates are chosen for you, there is a limit to what can be controlled. If enough people show their support, the DNC cannot ignore them all, and superdelegates can change their minds. If an overwhelming majority of people support one candidate, the DNC will have no choice but to vote in that candidate's favor. Otherwise, they'll be guaranteeing a victory for the Republicans, and we go to Ithaca, so we don't want that. So get out there, let your voice be heard, and maybe this broken system can be fixed once and for all, and be replaced with the Kids' Choice Awards system that our country deserves. Thanks for watching. Tune in next week for the next episode of The Week That Was. Keep it classy, Bombers.